Okay, grade 10. So we're going to have a look at the, start looking at the summary table of the different plant tissues. Let me just open it. All right, so I've actually copied all of these notes for you at school. So when you do come back, you can get a copy from me. And, you know, it's always best to also look at the color version that, you know, you see on Google Classroom, because you know, we print in black and white. Okay, so if you look at this table, it's made up of 4 pages, and it's all about, okay, so we're looking at tissues, and we're looking specifically at plant tissues. Then we're going to look at how everything fits together to support the plant, to transport things through the plant. And then later on, we're going to start, you know, look at animal tissues before the term ends and so on. Okay, so what I've done here is I have divided the table up into different sections. Number 1 are the meristematic tissues. Now, meristematic means dividing tissues, and you'll remember that from when we did mitosis. Then the covering tissues, the epidermal tissues. So, depending on which part of the plant you're looking at, the epidermis is going to be specialized in different ways. The cells will be different. So, we're going to look at root hairs, guard cells, and yeah, those are the main 2. Okay. Then we're going to now look at ground tissue. Now, ground tissue means, so what fills up the plant? So, you think about it, you've got the epidermal tissues which surround the plant. Then you've got the meristematic tissues, like the buds and the roots. They make the plant grow longer, but you've got to fill up the plant. And that's what we call the ground tissue of the plant. It's not really a term that I use a lot. So if you remember from yesterday, when I discussed that little introductory, that little tree diagram, naming the different tissues, one type of ground tissue, parenchyma, the packing tissue, filling up the plant. We're going to look at that, not today. Then the strengthening tissue, because now you've got a floppy plant, and that tree really needs to be able to stand up to the Cape Town wind, okay, at least try and stand up. So the strengthening tissues, the hard sounding words, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, and other people, other teachers might say collenchyma, sclerenchyma, parenchyma. I say parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma, and these would be the 2 strengthening tissues. So that we'll do later on. Then you've got to have something to transport sugars down and water and salt up. So those are the transport, all the vascular tissues. Vascular meaning they make up the veins. So the xylem will transport water and salt up. All right. And you know, in the alphabet it's UVWX, water X, xylem. And then the phloem to transport the food. So the sugars, like sucrose, that's produced in the leaves, going down to the rest of the plant. And that's basically it. All right, and then we move on to animal tissues at a later stage. Okay, so let's go back there now. Now you've heard of this already. Okay, we have actually discussed the meristematic tissues already. So I've got a little model here, a little piece of polystyrene. In fact, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. So that's meristematic tissues. All right, little cube-shaped cells. There's the nuclei, and the brown is the cytoplasm. So these cells are dividing really quickly to form new cells. And those new cells will develop into other plant tissues, because remember, they all look the same here. But then they're going to differentiate. They might become parenchyma, sclerenchyma, collenchyma, xylem, phloem, etc. They will become the different tissues in the plant. So where is meristematic tissue found? Well, you've actually done this before. Okay, meristematic tissue. Okay, so I said this isn't a real plant, and okay, so it doesn't exactly have terminal buds at the tip. Remember, the terminal buds, end buds, make the stem grow longer, and then there would be little buds there, and those would develop into new leaves or branches or flowers. And then at the tip of the roots, remember, right at the tip of the root would be the meristematic tissue. Meristematic means dividing tissue, and that will help the root grow longer, just like Mr. Anderson tried to explain. All right, so let's just have a look at the table. Okay, so what do I have in my table? Okay, so meristematic tissue. The cells are small, they're cube-shaped. There's no air spaces. They're very tightly packed next to one another. The plant tissues, they can have air spaces between them, making them some plants feel more spongy than others. Not all plant cells have air spaces. Meristematic cells are dividing so quickly that there are no air spaces between them. And because the cells are dividing so quickly, it looks like their nuclei are so large with very little cytoplasm around them. So what are they? So that's their structure. Okay, they're cube-shaped cells. Location, I've actually put over here. See, that's okay. So what do these cells do? They're actively dividing cells. They're undergoing mitosis. So there you can see in these little cube-shaped cells, you can see the different stages of mitosis. So, okay, it looks like some of them have got two nucleolus. Yes, you know, some nuclei do have two nucleoli, just little collections of RNA. We tend to draw one. So you can see prophase, well, there's prophase. Then you've got metaphase, where the chromosomes line up along the equator, anaphase, and there's anaphase as well. And then you end up with these two here, possibly, two daughter cells, which are identical to the original cell. So that's what's happening in meristematic tissue. The cells are dividing to make the plant grow bigger, and those cells differentiate into all these different tissues. They would get a particular structure, and therefore they would have different functions in the roots, the stems, and the leaves. So both roots and stems increase in length. Like I said just now, the terminal bud at the tip of the plant makes the plant grow longer. The lateral buds on the sides would make more leaves and branches. I haven't put that in here. And then right at the tip of the root, okay, there would be meristematic tissue, allowing the roots to grow longer. Now, you probably remember when we did mitosis, we said that, I'm just going to use some paper here. Use some paper. All right, the pericycle. So think of the root. And inside the root, remember me using a cylinder of paper, inside the root is a cylinder of meristematic tissue. And if you remember, it's called the pericycle. And those cells are dividing to make branch roots. And these branch roots are going to help anchor the plant even more so that it can grow even bigger. All right, then I said here as well that meristems are found in plant stems to make annual rings. Well, we're not going to talk about that now. Okay, but that's basically inside the stem. There's dividing tissue that will help the stem grow bigger and bigger. Think of a tiny little tree, and every year it grows bigger and bigger and bigger by making rings of wood. All right, and they're called annual rings. And in Mr. Anderson's video, that was actually secondary growth. But he was explaining, you know, all the detail about it, and we don't have to do that. So I will really scale that down later on. All right, so that's a little bit of information about the meristematic cell. So what I'd like you to do is to make sure you go through all of this, make sure you understand, go look at the textbook, you know, go again and look at mitosis and make sure that you understand how buds make stems grow longer and, you know, produce new leaves and flowers, how the pericycling roots makes the branch roots, and so on. Okay, so please make sure you understand this. My next video will be on epidermal tissue.